Alright, this video is Guilty Gear Strive Tips 2, and this is going to be my second video on explaining fighting game concepts-ish in the context of Strive and how it can help beginner to intermediate players improve. Like I said before, this is, like I said, mainly for beginner intermediate players, so if you're a more advanced player, I'm not sure if you'll find what you want to know in this video, but stick around, you may see something that you don't see often. So, for this video, I want to get into pressure and combos in Guilty Gear Strive because they're kind of synonymous with one another because one is on block and one is on hit. So last time we talked about neutral and what it meant to play neutral, you know, gun flames, occupying space, doing what you can to be annoying, right? So that's all cool and all. But now we're talking about pressure. And first you're going to start and ask, alright, what is pressure? Well, pressure is, to put quite simply, it's whatever happens on block, right? Technically, the way I like to think about pressure is the idea of fearing an opponent. You can have a person pressured at mid-screen depending on what character you play, but the way I think about it is it's this game, right? And the main important thing about pressure is that on top of it, the only requirement for you to even pressure somebody is to force them to block. It's also guaranteed to you if you get a knockdown. Let's see if I can try and show this. There you go. So, in any fighting game, once you get knocked down, technically it is still your turn because the enemy has to get up, you see? So, knockdown off of like a regular combo, he eventually has to get up. So what does that mean? That means that once he's getting up, well, you can still move, but he can't. So, it's your turn to do a meaty. You see what that is? That's a meaty. So basically, a meaty is timing your button to catch the wake up of an opponent, right? And here's why it's advantageous for you to meaty, because I have a dummy set to jab every time he wakes up. That's how you test meaty. So you set it to like a jab, and you press slash. Usually slash is going to be a good meaty button for you to use, but it's up to your discretion because say I'm playing neutral and I hit a gun flame, right? I try and run up and hit close slash. I'm getting counter hit, right? So, if I hit from this range, I could just run up and meaty with success, right? So, any button can meaty, but generally what the prerequisite for a button to meaty is that it's really active. Because you don't want to mess it up, because if you mess up a meaty, you get punished, right? So you want to find a really active button to meaty people with. Usually, really active buttons in this game are close slashes, which is triangle when you're close or slash when you're close. That's a good meaty button, and the whole idea besides pressure is to scare the opponent to take damage, right? Because especially in Strive, if you don't block, things like this can happen. Alright, obviously that's full meter and everything, but once you see how fast your health bar can delete in this game, and especially in fighting games in general, you start to realize that blocking is a pretty good option, which is when pressure starts. Obviously, different characters have different means of pressure, but everybody is basically trying their hardest to land a hit, and some moves are scarier on block than they are on hit. Take a character like Chip, for example. Very fast dash, very fast movement, and when you really boil it down, he has ambiguous left-rights in his alpha blades, right? So take a scenario like this. Right? That's just one scenario. Basically, that's behind, that's overhead. So you have to guess high-low already off of that. Or you could do something like this. That's behind him. That's cross up, right? So, Chip has a myriad of ways to open you up at the cost of, well, basically nothing but commitment. So, that's the beauty of pressure. With certain characters, the reason why, you know, Chip just took that much damage from a basic combo by me is because he can do stuff like this, that, you know what I'm saying? This, you know, he has a lot of ways to mix. So it's very important for you to keep in mind what pressure is in this game and how to apply it. But that's just Chip. Chip is a character that is made around pressure. So let's take a character that isn't, like Soul. Although technically he is. Let's get into it. So the biggest thing about pressure is that you want a move that is plus on block, or you want a move that forces the opponent to not be able to mash back confidently. What does that mean? All right. So I'm gonna set the dummy right now to after block. He's gonna mash Chip's standing P, which is a 3-frame normal, fastest normal in the game besides grab. So what does that mean? That means he's gonna block one, then he's gonna mash that back. So as a Soul, if I'm pressuring, far slash is really good, but that beats far slash. So now what? That beats far slash, I lab it, that beats jab back. So then what happens if he jabs back there? With meter, he still dies, right? He still takes a bunch of damage. So it's important to know the push and pull of every situation, especially in block strings, because these are the most fake things. Because, for example, what if that Chip doesn't mash back, and then he waits for my first one to mash back, right? He just won. What if I don't do 2 of them, and instead I just do this? Oh, I just do this. Alright, well, still took a bunch of damage. And now we're going to piece together the whole puzzle and talk about the most important thing about this little mind game is, what about this? Grab. Let's talk about grab. Grab is a really good option in a lot of modern fighting games, but especially in Strive, because it's one of the few things in this game that actually give you a hard knockdown. Hard knockdowns are hard to find in this game because this is a regular knockdown. Back roll into whatever wake up. This is a hard knockdown. So you can really see by the timing how much time I have to do different things. And grab gives you a hard knockdown, meaning that you get time to do a real meaty. Alright, so let's talk about it. And how this becomes an even more fun game when you understand your options and what matters. I'm going to set Chip to all guard, right? So, now we're playing neutral. And this Chip understands that I can vary up my options with grab, with button, with a frame trap, which is this. It's when you have a move that leads into another move that if they mash in between it, they get hit. And it counter hits. And frame traps are good because, like I showed you before, look at the damage. Oh, this thing is trading too much. You know? Good damage, good situation. So, you have 3 tools to usually choose between in a block string. A regular block string that just pushes him away. Regular block string. A frame trap. It has a gap in it, right? So technically, right here, if he presses DP or super, it will go through my attack. Whatever move is invincible by frame 1, because, well, you know, you see what it is, right? So he has those options. I have those 2 options, and I have tick throw. So what is tick throw? Or what does it mean to tick throw somebody? I have to take him off of a jab back here. But tick throwing is when you do a normal that either leaves you close or has very little push block to it, and then you grab somebody. So right there, you've seen off of slash up close, you usually can't get a tick throw. But with certain characters like Soul, because their normal is plus on block, meaning that if we both press something here, my move comes out faster because it's still my turn. This move is +3, meaning that I can move 3 frames before this Chip can. A very easy way to test if a move is plus or not is just to set the opponent to jump right after, right? So this is +3, so the grab becomes a little bit more real. But a very good scenario to grab is off of lights, because you don't have to move, look. Right? It's very minuscule to move. For example, that's the movement between that, that's the movement between that. There's obviously one that's a lot faster, right? So with these 3 options now, you have a better idea of pressure and making the game matter. And once you understand these 3 options of offense, which is grab, finish the block string, and a frame trap, we could start talking about the secret 4th and 5th options of pressure. And let's just get into the 4th one right away. This option is, in my opinion, one of the strongest, which is instead of tick throwing, press another button. Alright. Why is this important in this game? Sometimes the best option in a situation where I could get frame trapped or grabbed is just to do nothing on the defender side, right? Because, like I said before, if you get grabbed, 101 damage, which could turn into, you know, 151 with a RC combo. But you're not always going to have meter, and the opponent is not always going to be willing to risk it. However, if they do something risky like jab back, this will quickly turn into, well, you just died, right? So you don't want to do that either. So a lot of times the opponent will either sit there and take the pressure or decide to jump back, which is why a very good option is to keep doing buttons. Run up and keep doing buttons. Yes, they could jab back, but the jab back is not that scary for the amount of pressure that you're going to set. Because once they've realized that them jabbing back could cost them the game, they start to get a little bit more reserved with what they want to do. Meaning that sometimes you don't have to grab. Look at the risk gauge. Upper right hand corner. Start at 0, 1 close slash is already 50%. I mean 2 close slashes is already 50%. To a point that, well, next hit is counter hit. Now you have to take my combo, right? And this is another important part of the game, because sometimes you need to realize that essentially it's a guess, right? Will he mash back? Will he grab? Will he jump? Will he DP? It's a guess. Nobody knows. So on the offender, all they really have to do is heat up their option. And then, oh, that's a grab. Oh, that's another grab. Now I want a meaty, and because of all the risk, you just died, right? So this is the 4th option, right? Run up and press another button. Now, don't get me wrong. This takes conditioning, meaning that before you can't just start a match running up and pressing buttons. It's the same thing with grab. Unless you're a madman, you can't just start a match doing this, because you have no conditioning set on the opponent. You haven't made them scared of your option. Just because one soul likes to delay H slash to meaty does not mean that every soul likes to do that. So, although the reality could be that they could take a combo like this, like this, because it is not a guarantee, a lot of players will just not care, and they'll do some random shit. At first, you need to set the presence of your actions, alright? You need to make it very clear that if you do press this, you're going to frame trap. So don't press buttons during that. And then once they start respecting you and not pressing buttons because you could frame trap, well, now you just grab. Now they're expecting grab, you press a button, press another button, you press another button, press another button, you wait a little bit, and you grab again. And that's offense. That's how it becomes a cycle. But that is just the 4th option, which is pressing another button. The real importance is the 5th option. Yeah, but I said the 4th option is really strong, but truly, the 5th option is the strongest of all. And it is nothing. Alright. So now you're sitting here saying, alright, you just told me you're going to teach me pressure, and now I told you to do nothing. Why? Because nothing is the safest way to build pressure and to understand. For example, take a move like Soul's Far Slash, a plus on 2 normal, or a plus 2 normal on block, right? This means that they can't mash anything without being scared of getting a counter hit. What does that mean? Sure, I could just do a regular string and just make him scared of the pressure, or instead I could do 1 and hold, and look at what he's gonna do. Now, obviously a chip could do something that I'm not expecting, but then again, I start to build little trends. Like for example, if I do one of them, and then all chip wants to do is that he knows that he can 6P far slash, so he's just gonna 6P every time, right? He's like, man, I could 6P far slash, I'm gonna stop it before the move comes out, right? And that beats me. So instead, I'm just gonna do this. Wait a little bit. Oh, he likes to 6P. Now I do this. And this is a low, which beats 6Ps. And the same situation. It's also very good at the corner because a lot of people love to mash throw on the corner, because if you mess up your setup in the corner, and they actually get throw, it's now their turn technically, right? So say I run up too much, now I'm thrown, and now it's his turn, right? So a very good idea in the corner is hit your normal, wait a little bit, punish it accordingly. And if you're thinking, all right, well, they're not pressing anything even when I do that, all right, then take your turn back. They're still waiting. Once you realize that an opponent is scared to press buttons on you, you have effectively pressured them properly, because look, he's waiting. So it's still my turn. And it's still my turn. And if he's going to keep waiting and keep blocking, well, that's that. Alright, I'm going low overhead. Even if I hit regular dust, once I build the meter, guess what? Oh, this is set the guard second. Can I do... Alright. Is he on guard all? Wait, okay. So even when I build that precedent, you know, he can only block for so long, especially when you have dust, and you can do stuff like this, which, you know, isn't the best damage, but it's still damage. So this is it. This is the importance of pressure and all the important options that you have. These tools will help you go from, you know, having somebody be not afraid of your pressure or not afraid of your pressure at all to them being very scared of your pressure. Change up your options and respond accordingly to what the opponent is doing. This isn't a one-player game. This is a two-player game. Trust.